Citizen science is scientific research conducted, in whole or in part, by amateur or non-professional scientists. Formally, citizen science has been defined as the systematic collection and analysis of data, development of technology, testing of natural phenomena, and the dissemination of these activities by researchers on a primarily avocational basis. Citizen science is sometimes included in terms such as public participation in scientific research, participatory monitoring, and participatory action research. Definition: the terms citizen science and citizen scientists entered the Oxford English Dictionary in June 2014. Citizen science is defined as scientific work undertaken by members of the general public, often in collaboration with or under the direction of professional scientists and scientific institutions, and citizen scientists, in the modern sense, are defined as a scientist whose work is characterized by a sense of responsibility to serve the best interests of the wider community, or a member of the general public who engages in scientific work, often in collaboration with or under the direction of professional scientists and scientific institutions, an amateur scientist. Prior to the term entering the Oxford English Dictionary, the Green Paper on Citizen Science, Citizen Science for Europe, was published and gave a definition for citizen science, referring to the general public engagement in scientific research activities when citizens actively contribute to science either with their intellectual effort or surrounding knowledge, or with their tools and resources. Participants provide experimental data and facilities for researchers, raise new questions and co-create a new scientific culture. While adding value, volunteers acquire new learning and skills, and deeper understanding of the scientific work in an appealing way. As a result of this open, networked and transdisciplinary scenario, science-society policy interactions are improved, leading to a more democratic research based on evidence-informed decision-making, as is scientific research conducted, in whole or in part, by amateur or non-professional scientists. Citizen science may be performed by individuals, teams, or networks of volunteers. Citizen scientists often partner with professional scientists to achieve common goals. Large volunteer networks often allow scientists to accomplish tasks that would be too expensive or time-consuming to accomplish through other means. Many citizen science projects serve education and outreach goals. These projects may be designed for a formal classroom environment or an informal education environment such as museums. Citizen science has evolved over the past 4 decades. Recent projects place more emphasis on scientifically sound practices and measurable goals for public education. Modern citizen science differs from its historical forms primarily in the access for, and subsequent scale of, public participation. Technology is credited as one of the main drivers of the recent explosion of citizen science activity. Alternative definitions. Other definitions for citizen science have also been proposed. For example, Bruce Lewinstein of Cornell University's Communication and S&TS departments describes 3 possible definitions: the participation of non-scientists in the process of gathering data according to specific scientific protocols and in the process of using them, interpreting that data; the engagement of non-scientists in true decision-making about policy issues that have technical or scientific components; the engagement of research scientists in the democratic and policy process. Scientists and scholars who have used other definitions include Frank von Hippel, Stephen Schneider, Neil Lane, John Beckwith, and Alan Irwin. Other alternative terminologies proposed are civic science and civic scientist. Further, Mookie Hackler offers an overview of the typologies of the level of citizen participation in citizen science, which range from crowdsourcing, where the citizen acts as a censor, to distributed intelligence, where the citizen acts as a basic interpreter, to participatory science, where citizens contribute to problem definition and data collection, to extreme citizen science, which involves Collaboration between the citizen and scientists in problem definition, collection and data analysis. A 2014 Mashable article defines a citizen scientist as anybody who voluntarily contributes his or her time and resources toward scientific research in partnership with professional scientists, related fields and projects, such as SETI at home, use the Internet to take advantage of distributed computing. These projects are generally passive. Computation tasks are performed by volunteers' computers and require little involvement beyond initial setup. There is disagreement as to whether these projects should be classified as citizen science. The astrophysicist and Galaxy Zoo co-founder Kevin Sharwinski stated, "We prefer to call this Galaxy Zoo citizen science because it's a better description of what you're doing. You're a regular citizen but you're doing science." Crowdsourcing sounds a bit like, well, you're just a member of the crowd and you're not, you're a collaborator. You're proactively involved in the process of science by participating. Compared to SETI at home, Galaxy Zoo volunteers do real work. They're not just passively running something on their computer and hoping that they'll be the first person to find aliens. They have a stake in science that comes out of it, which means that they are now interested in what we do with it and what we find. Citizen policy may be another result of citizen science initiatives. Johanna Varna writes, "If citizens are going to live with the benefits or potential consequences of science, it's incredibly important to make sure that they are not only well informed about changes and advances in science and technology, but that they also are able to influence the science policy decisions that could impact their lives." Limitations. In March 2015, the state of Wyoming passed a new law making it a crime to collect environmental data on behalf of the government. Concerns have been voiced that this law will make citizen scientists criminals if they take, for instance, water samples from both public and private land. It might well create a unique new category of crime called data trespass. Quoting Justin Piddett, an assistant professor at the University of Denver's Sturm College of Law, from the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle, "I think if you read the law on its face, it applies to both private and public lands, and it makes it a crime to go out on public land and collect data on natural resources and the environment." This is a concern because the relationship between citizen scientists and the government is special and deserves constitutional protections. Quoting Piddett from the Washington Post, "Government shouldn't be in the business of concealing wrongdoing. When you have a state government creating a law criminalizing people revealing truthful information about illegal conduct, then something's gone horribly astray in our democracy." Proponents of the law include State Senator Larry Hicks. Quoting from the WP, Hicks says, "They're collecting reams of biological data, water quality data, looking for sensitive amphibians, endangered species, cultural resources, then using that information to basically preclude economic activity on those lands." A lawsuit is currently in progress between ranchers in Wyoming and Western Watersheds. Gary Wilmot, executive director of the Wyoming Outdoor Council, stated, "We thought it was a flawed piece of legislation from the start. One of our early arguments against this was it's very different than criminal trespass. Criminal trespass, you have to knowingly be on private land. This law, you don't have to trespass knowingly, and that's why we saw it as so risky for wildlife researchers. We're worried about people making honest mistakes and being guilty of this crime." In a research report published by the U.S. National Park Service in 2008, Brett Amy Thelen and Rachel K. Theat mentioned the following concerns, previously reported in the literature, about the validity of volunteer-generated data. Some projects may not be suitable for volunteers, for instance when they use complex research methods or require arduous or repetitive work. If volunteers lack proper training in research and monitoring protocols, they are at risk of introducing bias into the data. Members may lie about data. This risk is even greater when bounties are awarded as an incentive to participate. The question of data accuracy, in particular, remains open. John Lucy, who created the Lost Ladybug Citizen Science Project, has argued that the cost-effectiveness of citizen science data can outweigh data quality issues, if properly managed. The medical ethics of Internet crowdsourcing has been questioned by Graeber and Graeber in the Journal of Medical Ethics. In particular, they analyze the effect of GREAMS and the crowdsourcing project Foldit. They conclude,